cannot grow the economy and get wages rising unless we end the unequal pay that women in the workplace are still suffering under. Some of it, let's be honest, is just good old-fashioned discrimination.
Hamlin U professor, Jenny Kill.
How can a woman still make less than a man after having the same education, working the same job?
So that's another great question, because when you start to analyze the pay gap, you say, what things can I measure that would explain this, right? Because we don't expect everybody to make the same amount of money. So when we look at how long have you been in school, what is your occupation, and how many years have you been working at an uninterrupted rate, those three variables alone will explain at least 12 cents of the 20 cents gap that we're talking about. So what happens though is that's not all that matters. There's a whole bunch of things that impact your wage that we can't measure very easily, and that's kind of what I talk about in this book. So things like if you're both, let's say you're both doctors, men and women are both doctors, but if a male doctor, because he's been trained to or because it's more natural for him, negotiates for more wages or more benefits, his pay over time is going to grow at a different rate. So things like your ability to negotiate, how willing you are to take risks, all that impacts your pay.
Pink jobs, women working jobs, soft jobs.
How does the wage gap affect families?
So many families, 60% of all families are headed back where the woman is making more money than the man. So when women are paid lower than men for a variety of occupations, it really does impact the income that's available for a family. So it's smart to think of it as more than just an issue that's targeted only toward women, but women as heads of households, it affects children as well.
From the White House Summit on Working Families today. One is that African American women are paid only 64 cents and Hispanic women only 54 cents for every dollar paid to white non-Hispanic men. And, despite all that, too, working married women are bringing home 44% of their family's income.
Visual statistics about the wage gap.
Okay, what's the ratio of female to male earnings?
Well, the number that most recently and always gets cited is about 80 cents for every $1. 78 cents on the dollar is about the pay gap number that I would use.
Can a woman negotiate her salary so she can make the same as a man?
Yes, a woman should definitely practice negotiating in all areas of her life so that when you have a conversation about wages with your employer, you're ready. And the way that you get ready to negotiate about wages is to do a ton of research. So you don't just walk in and say, I want to be paid as much as a man. You say, here's my skill set. I've gone into the databases that I can find, and for a person who's qualified like me and who's as old as I am and who's worked as much as I am, here's a range that I think is a fair wage for me. And even that, having that conversation is huge, because most jobs in the labor market, on the hiring side, the hiring manager is expecting people to negotiate. So when men walk in and they know this and they just start to have this back and forth, they're going to settle on a wage. If women show up for a job and they're offered the job and they're so excited and they say, yes, I'll take it, they've left money on the table. You have to negotiate.
Women, we need to be more educated about the wage gap. During my interview with the Hamlin U Women's Studies professor, she gave me this book, Earn More, Move Up, to learn more about the wage gap. Unfortunately, us women need to be prepared to negotiate fair pay.